So, I actually have two big hobbies. I sew, which is, you know, because you're here watching this channel, but I also play computer games, and there's a big new computer game coming out that I am so excited for, Starfield. I need to make something for that too. Hello, it's Icy. Yes, that's right. I am merging the hobbies, crossing the streams. Is this going to go interestingly? Yeah, I can't wait. I'm very excited. I plan to make a Starfield themed jacket. So Starfield is a big, huge, explore the universe, well, explore a galaxy perhaps, type of game being released in the time of recording, 70-ish days, by the company Bethesda. I've been a Bethesda games fan for a long time. If you follow me over on my other channel, you will see I play one of the other Bethesda games, also published by ZeniMax Online, The Elder Scrolls Online. I do a lot of stuff about that. And so, of course, Starfield is like, oh my god, I'm so excited. So I want to make a jacket that looks vaguely like something that somebody who's rocking around in space might wear. So I want it vaguely astronaut themed, vaguely military themed, in the Starfield colors, specifically the Constellation logo colors. And then we see how we go. So the previous video, which you may have seen, link in the corner, was me taking my initial bodice pattern, which I didn't bother putting sleeves on because all I wanted to do was make some vests, and making a sleeve pattern to go with it. So they worked eventually. So now I have something I can turn my own personalized, perfectly fitted pattern I can turn into a jacket. Exciting. So let's talk about the design, shall we? Now, I had so much fun designing this thing because I designed it on my Twitch stream with my viewers. There is a link in the description below to a highlight of that whole process. But in essence, this is what we came up with. So I knew before I started that I wanted something that was basically like this jacket. Now, I have owned this jacket for probably close to 20 years. It's an absolute classic, absolutely fantastic. It is ever so slightly cut too big in some strange places. So it's just a teeny bit too long. The neck is just a teeny bit too open. It's just a few little weird bits and pieces, but in general it looks amazing. And I did want to use this style because it absolutely hits the points of kind of vaguely military, but not overdoing it, not circus ringmaster, just sitting nicely in between all of those locations. So the vague style of the jacket will be similar-ish to this in that we will have a collar, zip, probably cuffs, with zips, and the various shoulder designs as well. Now, because I knew, even before I had sat down, I had some ideas of designs, but hadn't actually finalized it. Thank you, everybody who helped with that. I did know what colors nominally I wanted. So I did go off when there was a sale at Spotlight and material was half price. I did buy some colors. Let me show you what I've got. So the Starfield Constellation logo it's quite bright. Disconcertingly bright for me. So we've got bright yellow, I know, right? Bright orange. Then we've got Oh, too many. Bright red and a nice dusty blue. So all of these together are used in the constellation logo, as well as some whites. So obviously, because my stash does not include bright colors, I had to actually go and buy these. And mostly I don't go for the really bright reds, so I also didn't have anything in that color either. Now, the original plan for this was, of course, to go with black. It was going to be a black jacket because I did plan to wear this not just for gaming related events, but just in my everyday life because it would look so cool. That's part of it as well. I don't want it to look like a costume. I want it to look like something I can wear. So there's a careful balancing thing there. So I did buy some black stretch drill because that was the plan for the fabric. I wanted to, this is just broadcloth because drill colors did not come in enough variations. So I went with broadcloth for the stripes. So black. Now the problem is, of course, that all of these bright colors plus black is like, ooh, that's not blending great, actually. And I wanted a reasonable chunk of color. So I had a look in the stash after I got home, because of course I realized this after I had been shopping, and found a little bit, not very much, but maybe just enough of this. And this is the remainder of the maroon drill that I used for the Ren Fair corset vest. So if you look at that, however, that plus the colors is actually pretty good. That actually blends nicely, and I do wear a lot of maroon. That's not a problem at all. But and this also informed the design you saw earlier. Because I've only got a bit of this, I actually needed to work out a way of reducing the amount of fabric I needed so I didn't have to go back to the shops, because I did not see this color in the shops. I wasn't really looking for it, but I didn't actually spot it anywhere. So that's why the side panels and the inner parts of the sleeves are in the stretch denim, the stretch drill, because that way I can reduce the amount of maroon that I need, add a bit of black in, because we know we like black, plus having black side panels will actually be super flattering, and then having the majority in maroon will tone this down nicely. So it's very exciting. So I have been a good girl. I have been a good sewist. Good job me. I've already pre-washed the fabric and then ironed it, so that later on, if I need to launder it, which, you know, it's would hope to at some point in its lifetime, wash the thing, it doesn't shrink. Do pre-wash in a hot wash your cottons before you start. Tip from somebody who has learned their lesson previously. So plans are, okay, so first things first is I now need to actually make a pattern that has like seam lines that match what I've actually designed. So this is not, actually this is a two-piece sleeve. So what I want is for the front lines to actually match up where the two-piece sleeve hits. So my pattern currently does not do that, so I'll need to redo that. Ditto at the back as well. This jacket, no idea if that showed up, has very dramatic sort of lines at the back, which conveniently match the vest I made previously, the Halloween vest. So I can probably take the curves I have on the Halloween vest and then kind of like munge them, I hope, to transfer them to make them into a pattern where it comes straight down as opposed to continuing to curve out around the hips. I do plan to have the cuffs. I do plan to have this kind of, which you can't see, like a waistband, because that adds to kind of the bomber jacket, slightly military vibe. Yes to the collar. No, well, I'm going to have, as you can see on the design, this will be the tricky bits. I need to work out how I'm doing all of that patching. So I'll need to actually take the pattern and then cut it up and then turn it into block colors. That's going to be tricky. There's a lot of stuff going on. But yeah, I think the first step is to just get a basic jacket pattern. Am I going to mock this up? No, I'm not. Is this a problem? I don't think so. So I've already done the mock-up for the sleeve shapes. And I can take that and draw on it to try and get the proper mock-ups working out for like the shoulder design. And then I can chop that. But I'm not planning to make an actual mock-up of the new pattern. We're just going to go ahead and sew the thing. I think it'll be fine. The worst that could happen is that I don't get the transfer of the seams right on the back and the front. But if I leave decent sized like hems, decent sized seams, then I can tweak that as I go. So I think it'll be okay. And I can also do like sanity checks off the existing patterns, you know, like, okay, it's, I don't know, like 30 centimeters across here. Is it 30 centimeters across here on the new one? It is? Awesome. Wish me luck. So first step, making a new pattern. So, after some extremely cold evenings in this room, and my goodness me, where I was wearing 2 jumpers, a beanie, and gloves sometimes, we have a pattern. We've migrated to brown paper, we've run out of white, so we have front side. It looks very dramatic on the curve. We'll see how that goes. I'm not 100% sure, actually. We have waistband back, nice and curved. Hopefully that's right. Waistband front, less curved. Cuffs. So I think the cuffs that I'm going to work with are not as dramatic as the ones on that other jacket. They'll also be closer fitting because the ones on the other jacket are always felt too baggy. So yeah, so this I hope will work fine. We have sleeve, actually sleeve outside and inside. Man, this thing was terrible to, like this, whatever. You saw the other video. That was a terrible, terrible thing to make. We have the back. Now I'm going to cut this on the fold rather than the other jacket, which is seamed, because I do plan to like treat all of the seams like sort of jeans where they're folded over and then top stitched from the outside. And the other one's got a weird effect where they've done that, but then it looks like the back is off center because it's folded one way. So we're skipping that whole thing by just cutting that on the fold. So back side cut, which honestly looks like a better shape than the front one. That's the one. Mildly concerned about this bit. We'll see how we go. And the front. Yeah, it's, I mean, nominally it's not meant to be as fitted as the vests. It slightly boxy is like the way it should look, because it's meant to be more of a jacket and more of a, like a bomber, sort of a bomber style. So it should look boxier on the front. Now, pockets. Did plan to put in pockets, might still plan to put in pockets. There are pockets on the design. I mean, there is a previous video where I went back and added pockets to like this jacket because I didn't add pockets, but am I going to add pockets? The olive jacket does, but I didn't buy any zippers to close the pockets because I forgot that bit. I got a zipper for the, obviously straight down the front and one that I can use for the, well, actually one long one with two ends that I can cut in half and then use for these bits. But I didn't get any pocket ones. So, and the fabric store is like a half-hour drive away, and I don't want to pay shipping because that'd be like $10 for like a $6 zipper. So I got to think about the pockets, basically. So I still need to think about that. So next step is to take the mock-up from the sleeves and whack it on a dress form, and then literally, much in the way that I actually worked out the pattern for the Raven vest, literally draw the designs straight onto here and then cut this up and then transfer it to paper. I'll probably make a second copy of like at least the top part of the sleeve and maybe the top part of the chest and the back, so I can then draw on that and cut it out. So that I'm actually working on a known quantity, so to speak. But yeah, that's the next bit, is to take the plain pattern and turn it into the fancy pattern. Then I have to have some serious thinking about whatever happens next. The pattern stuff's easy. This is going to be a long video. Thanks for watching. Let's see what happens next. Okay, so I think I have a plan. I'm gonna have a line from near the neck down to not where the actual seam joins, which is actually closer to the armpit, but sort of where it disappears, of the line to there. Now this is going to be kind of the main part of the blue, and then I have to think about this because it could be different on the other sleeve, because one side will have all blue and one side's going to have kind of the base color in the top part of the sleeve as well. I haven't decided. Some of this will get worked out on the fly. So then this section between the mark point and where the actual seam starts, that will be the colored stripes, and then there'll be another blue stripe underneath and then continue down the arm. I need to actually, probably should have done that work actually where the actual center line is down the sleeve. I have it marked on the pattern, so when I take this all apart and then lay it out, I should be able to work that out. It might be that I don't use the center line, that I actually offset it closer to the front. That might give a better result. I'll have a look and then I'll see. Or I take this as a center line and then, you know, anchor it to the wrist in a place that's not directly down the arm. We'll work that out as we go. I think that's fine. And then on the back, this might be a bit interesting. So the point of the sleeve is here, where the actual two parts to the two sleeve. Maybe, I'm just thinking, if I just made this in a single, maybe I should use the other sleeve type. All of this would be a great deal easier if I was just using the other, like a single piece sleeve, but I have decided to make this hard for myself, so we'll continue. So same kind of slope. It might be subtly different, but it's still going to come down to approximately this level, which is on the other side. So that's below where the actual seam is. And so I've drawn, these are where the actual seams are going to come in on the actual jacket. So meeting at the actual sewn point. So I think what I'm going to do here, so this section is black. This section is black. So what I might do, so I think what I'll do is I'll make this a single piece here. This is actually very flat across this section, so I'm not gonna, it won't matter if I kind of get rid of that. So I'll take that down as a flat piece. Then I'll start this back seam from further out. I think that's the best solution for that one. This little triangle here, so I will need a separate piece that comes down here. So this little triangle here, I probably will just add into like the top sleeve of the pattern. And then for the side where it's just going to have like a border around it, I'll we'll work some stuff out there. Yeah, because I could either leave that little triangle, because there's going to be a cut line all the way along here and some stripes. This little triangle here nominally should be black, but possibly I will just make it in the base color, or it'll be something else. We'll work it out. We'll work it out. So I think that's all right. Yeah, so the next step is just to take this all off, unpick everything, and then like cut along the lines, and then make the paper plan from that. This all little section here that's got all the multi stripes and stuff, that could be a little bit tricky, but that's the advantage with working in transferring this to paper, and then I can muck around there, and then we see what happens. Okay, next bit, let's go. Right, so done a whole bunch of very, very hard thinking and cutting out to get to a stage where I think I'm good to go. So a bunch of these are just the original bits, but I think that obviously the main changes to the pattern are to the sleeve. So we have left and right outer sleeve with the idea being a 1.5 centimeter strip down through the middle of blue. Then we have so the top part, the little tail is there just for reference, but I don't think I actually need to cut that out because it'll be covered over with a diamond, blue diamond shape, and then there'll be a white diamond on top of that. So that'll actually be top stitched, I think. I don't think I can actually pattern that in where I can actually neatly integrate it into the whole thing unless I end up putting a seam down the middle, which I don't want to do. Then we've got, this represents the strips of colors that need to go on sort of like here and here. So I think I've settled on 0.75 of a centimeter for the red, orange and yellow, and then 1 centimeter for the blue. And then for the side that isn't all blue, it'll just be the blue strip. And then the rest will just be the original kind of maroon base color. I've also got, oh gosh, somewhere. No, yes, maybe. Oh, that looks good. Okay, so this is the shoulder section. So like that. So on the right shoulder, it'll be all blue. And then when it comes time for to cut out the other shoulder, I'll actually cut the 1.5 centimeter line out and then break that into 2 separate parts. I've marked off on like okay, so that's the undersleeve, but with the point cut off to take into account like sort of how that overlaps. So I think that should work. Yeah, the front and the back piece have sort of where the new shoulder is going, like the patterned shoulder, that's marked off on here. I don't really want to cut, this is the real piece, like the other part of all of this is the idea, I kind of want a base jacket pattern that I can take onwards in future to make other sorts of things. So I don't want to make any permanent changes to the basic pieces, if you know what I mean. That's why I've got like extra bits drawn, so I can draw on those and cut them out. Some of these lines though, I mean, I'll see how I go. I've kind of got like, okay, it's the leftover bit of like the bits I stuck together to get the back. So I can use that on the material and then muck around. It'll work out. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. We'll work it out. Anyway, it's really complicated, which you can probably tell. So complicated, I don't normally do this, but I actually made a cut list. especially because the sleeves are not the same. So it's like, okay, well, I need 2 diamonds and 2 strips, but I need 1 blue shoulder, and then I got to do other stuff. So it's kind of like working out all of the things and all of the bits I need. I worked out how much of the striped colors I need, like the strips. None of those need to be cut on the bias. They can all be cut on the straight, which is great. If I'm going to use some to like cover, I've got a plan to cover the seams on the inside with bias tape in the various colors. So I might need to reserve a bit that I can cut on the bias for those. But I need a total of about 1.4 meters of like the strip that can then be cut up into different sections. So obviously I can't, these are only 1.2 long, so I can't do that. So I'm guessing, so I've got all my amounts that I need, so I'll just have to make like a whole bunch of strips. And then we'll put those together and then see how that goes. So it's very complicated and messy. The diamonds I've cut out from cardboard, or at least I've got additional cardboard, blue, white, because that way I can like hopefully take the blue fabric and then like press it over this, and then hopefully get like a nice sharp edge in a curve that I can top stitch. With top stitching, did I even think that I would? I was not planning to top stitch at all, apart from in black on the black sections. It's not all black anymore. And I have not checked what color thread, because I didn't buy any thread, because I was thinking, oh no, it's going to be all stitched, all hidden stitching. I don't need anything other than black. I don't know if I have any blue that I can use for the top stitching, and I don't know, I probably have maroon. I almost definitely have maroon that I can use, but I have no idea if I have any blue. I think I only need blue for the top stitching. I don't need the red, yellow, or orange, because they'll just be all normal seams. So we'll see how we go, right? Well, I spent a long time sewing this, doing this top stitching on top of the stripes, and ultimately, I don't like it. I really don't. It's giving me far too strong a Girl Guide scarf / Boy Scout scarf vibes, and I'm not here for it. It's not the vibe. It's not the vibe I was after. So I sewed this up last night and looked at it and went, oh no. I haven't actually cut out a lot. I haven't cut out any of the rest of the fabric needed. It's only just the stripes and this thing. So we okay that way. But I consulted with my in-house design crew, and we put some ideas together. And I think what I'm probably going to do, well, I need to also consult with my external consultants. And then probably the plan is this, I don't know, I need to draw up some things as well, and with colors and stuff as well, just to see what the vibe is. But by sort of positioning kind of sections of black, I think what I'm going to do is, there's going to be more black in here. I'm going to revert to type. But see, if I do that, that's suddenly starting to kind of work a little better for me. It's giving me a closer kind of feel to what I was after, I think. The other option is that could also be the maroon instead, and maybe the sleeve becomes black. Now, one other thing I've realized that I've done, and that is a problem, is these stripes are the wrong way around. Because this is meant to be the sunrise, and this is meant to be the sky. So apparently my stripes are rising upside down. But they're this way around as well because of various, I don't know, maybe it's thing. So if I get rid of the blue, if the red is here, then I've got the red on the maroon, and it's not the best color combo. So maybe we change the entire design. But anyway, what I have worked out is I don't like this. This is not working for me. Also, this is my Starfield badge, which is a small piece of paper cut out in a circle that I think is approximately the right size to give me the vibe. So yeah, a bit of time wasted, but not a great deal of material wasted. So yeah, we're gonna go away, do some more consulting with various people, and then come up with a modified plan. Well, it's going very well. So I have a sleeve. I'm pretty happy with it. I think it's going pretty good. I have two sleeves technically, but the other one's on the mannequin. I did discover I sewed myself into a problem here where I took the dimensions of the sleeve in at the wrist because it needed it, I think. But that meant it couldn't go over like the sleeve section of my sewing machine. Because I didn't want any fastenings, I wanted this permanently attached. That then involves some hand sewing and some jiggery pokery, and but nonetheless I'm still satisfied with it. So the final, these colors are good. I'm quite chuffed. I need myself an emblem. I'm gonna make something that will do until such time as maybe I get a real one. That would be awesome, but we'll see how we go. So yeah, stripes going well. It's not lined, but all of the seams are finished neatly. Bias binding, man. I've never made bias binding before, and I thought, okay, fine. I don't have any black, so I'll make some red to go with the stripes. It was the worst. I think it's now my least favorite sewing job ever. Is making bias binding, but unfortunately I probably need to make a whole bunch more. So anyway, but this little fold back sleeve with the pop of color, I love it. I love it so much. So I'm quite pleased. There's enough room. I am wearing a jumper, not a very thick one. I could conceivably take out, I would think, a good probably centimetre across the bottom of the sleeve to the elbow, and I might probably make an adjustment to the actual final pattern that I've drafted up previously, because really I don't think I need this much room in here. Like it's fine. The popped sleeves counteract for the volume, plus it's black, so you know you don't really see it, but genuinely I don't need that much. Here is okay. It's loose enough around my generous upper arm. I mean, I could lose a centimetre out of here as well, honestly, but that's fine. There's an excess volume here, I think, that could safely disappear. Do I unpick all this and redo that? No, I don't think so, because I've already unpicked a decent chunk. So the next step is to assemble the back, assemble the front. the front obviously has to have pockets. The other advantage with doing this whole sewn together flip out thing means I didn't need to chop apart any zippers in order to get like a little zipper here to unzip this. So that's cool. So I just need to put in zipped pockets here on this front seam. I think I have a plan, but we see how that goes. And I need to cut out the pockets as well. And I think I'm just going to use some like Polypop, just so it's not very thick. Otherwise, if I use the drill, will make everything too bulky, and I don't have any. I might have some black broadcloth, but I have black Polypop, so that will do fine. So it's actually within sight. With how we go. So yeah, so make the front, put the collar on. Then probably sew down the sides and do any taking in, letting out, basically get it fitting well after the zipper's in. And then the last step will be putting on the sleeves, which is my second least favorite thing in sewing, setting in sleeves, because that is awful. We see how that goes. But I'm very happy. Just a short interruption to the sewing process, because I want to talk about the zipper. I have had so many problems putting this zipper in. I realized I probably have never put a divided split zipper into anything before. I've absolutely put invisible zippers into dresses, and probably I've put like a zipper into a pair of pants, but maybe not for like 20 years. So I blithely went into putting this in just thinking, oh, this will be a doddle. It'll be fine. Viewer, it was not. I redid this 3 times, I think. So the first way I tried, which if you look carefully in the videos, you'll see, is basically taking the fabric, putting it like this, sewing through the middle, so sewing it, folding it open, pressing it flat, laying the zipper on top, pinning it into place, and then sewing down either side. And the reason I did that was to give an effect where it overlapped at the front of the zipper, so the front of the zipper would be hidden. Now, 2 problems with that. One is it slipped. So it wasn't actually, I mean, the process itself was nominally okay, but the zipper, despite how carefully I laid it out, actually wiggled. So sort of halfway down, it was like skinny, the overlap was skinny on one side and wide on the other. I don't know how I could have done that better. I'd seen examples on Instagram Reels of people doing this, which is where I got the idea from. Is there a trick? Is there an extra trick I missed? Maybe it just doesn't work for chunky zippers. Maybe the chunky zippers is the problem, because if it was a normal size zipper, it would be much easier to tell that it was centered when you're sewing it. Anyway, that didn't work. But I decided not to do it that way, because after I tried the jacket on, I realized that having the overlap started to make it look too formal. And it was very much veering towards Starship Enterprise bridge, as opposed to something a little more casual. And I did want something a little more casual. So I decided, okay, that's fine. I'll sew it. Plus I needed just a teeny bit of extra room. I took out a bit on the sides, like a bit of volume, which I should not have. Anyway, I needed a teeny bit of extra room. So I decided to have the zipper exposed, which is a much more casual look. Pinned it all into place, zipped it up and went, oh, yep, that's going to be great. We're going to do that. And then proceeded to sew it. And I don't know how that worked. So it ended up, after I pinned it together, had the zipper done up, laid it out, pinned it perfectly, then sewed it. One end was hit, like was too long. I nearly rage, well, I didn't nearly rage quit. I quit for the day at that point because it was like many bad words cycled through my head. And I went, okay, this is not working. So I went away and watched some YouTube videos. And the thing I've missed, which I didn't even know about, which is the disadvantage of not actually having a laid out pattern. If I was following an actual pattern, on the pattern instructions would be a step probably that would have said, which possibly I might have ignored and then had to come back and go, oh, that's why they said it. Interface down the front edge of the zipper. So on the fabric, obviously. So iron some interfacing down that front edge and then put the zipper on, because I'm assuming what's happened is as I've been sewing, it's actually, I've pulled the material and I've stretched it. So if you interface down the edge, then you won't be able to stretch the fabric, basically. Now, the other thing that most of it recommended, which totally worked, it's so annoying, is basting. Because this was my third go and I was like jack of it by this stage, I went, okay, fine, I'm just going to take the extra time and I'll vigorously baste this. That helped a lot. I might not have needed the interfacing as well. The basting on its own may have been enough, but that's fine. The one other tip I would say is if you're going to put interfacing in and you're not lining the jacket, which I'm not, you want a really thin strip of interfacing so that it's going to be hidden by the zipper table however you're finishing it. Now, was my strip thin enough? No. No, it was not. And so I've had to pull it off, the interfacing afterwards. It's mostly come off, but there's still a few bits of glue that you can see. I don't know. I reheated it with the iron and then tried to pull it off. That kind of worked, but I might have to Google how to remove interfacing. Usually this time for some reason I've ironed it on really, really well, because normally that stuff just pulls straight off. Anyway, I now have a zipper. The zipper hits evenly at the top of the neck. I've top stitched the tape down, like the actual zipper tape. I haven't added any binding or anything to this because I tried and then went, no, that's overkill. So now I just need to tack in the collar. I'm going to have to do that by hand, just because of the way, I don't want to sew it because it's got like the red and I'd be sewing on it anyway. Hand will be fine. The bottom band I will do with machine. And then I need to work out, do I put the sleeves in next or do I try and do something fancy with the emblem? I have not yet decided. Sometimes, in projects, things don't go as well as you think they should, so I need a Starfield logo to go on the sleeve. My first thought was to print on canvas, printable canvas, the Starfield logo and then like stitch it to the jacket. And I did that and I went, oh yeah, that's fine. That looks pretty good. That'll do. I think that would be fine. But you know what I can do? That's right, I can do better. I think that Icy, who turns out to be so good at all of these sorts of things, could hand embroider a logo. Let's go with no for that one. Look at that. Look at that mess. That is so terrible. Anyway, the general idea was great. The execution looks so bad. I have never really embroidered anything before. I've done cross stitch which gives you nice little holes that you can stick the needle through so it looks nice and neat. Yes, I did a bit and went, you know, this is not looking great. The saving grace for this particular thing is I already owned all of the floss, the rings, had the fabric, all of the stuff. So it's not like I went out and spent additional money on this and it failed. I had all the stuff, which is also why I did it, because it's like, oh, well, I can try this because I don't need to buy anything. So the second thought at that point was, oh, this looks terrible. Okay, let's try something else. So the something else was I thought, well, can I, after all, cut tiny, tiny little curved sections, you know, like a red, orange, yellow, put it on a blue background, sort of hand stitch, do basically like an applique. The answer for that, of course, also is no, that also looks terrible. It's not stitched down, but the little curves look so bad. They're not even. I don't know. I don't know how people do it to get tiny, tiny, even curves. Anyway, that also looked not great. So what I've decided to do is, yes, that's right, I went back to the original idea of printing on my inkjet printer onto printable art canvas a logo. And you know what? I think that will be just fine. So what we got here is the canvas. So it's like art canvas. So it's like plain on one side. It's got a printable covering on the other side. You just stick it through your inkjet. I got Mr. Icy to put a spray varnish cover on the surface, and then I just stuck it in the sewing machine and put like an edging around it with some zigzags. So, you know, I think that's fine. As I was sewing it, little bits of paint flake off, like around the edge. So I don't think this is necessarily going to be very heavy duty, which is also why I'm going to sew this on after I've actually put the sleeves on. The original plan was to, like, while the sleeve was unattached, like to position it and then sew it on, because I could just do it straight on the machine and not have to muck around. But I don't think all of the folding and like things involved with sewing the actual sleeve into the thing will survive. So, you know, that's fine. That's fine. The other advantage is if it dies, it doesn't work, I can just print another one. I might add, I already owned the printable canvas. At some point 15 years ago, I think I bought some of it and then never used it. So that's good at least. I didn't waste any money on any of these small attempts, which that makes me happy. So next step is to actually insert the sleeves into the jacket, and then it's nearly done. No, actually then it is done? Heck. Finally, it's done. This was a big, complicated, surprisingly difficult, kind of, in bits, project. But my goodness, I am so pleased with the result. Oh my god, I can't tell you how much I love that pop of colour. Like on the inside of the collar. So good. So, let's talk about what did work and what didn't. What did? The general vibe is spot on. It worked so well. The general pattern, like the final colours, perfect. So the red here and on the tops of the sleeve, and then the black underneath. The later change to the black collar is actually really good. That totally worked. The stripe colours are popping so nicely. The diamond works-ish. Could have been more precise, but I think it's acceptable, really. The more subtle version on this side, I love that it's like complementary but not the same. The Starfield logo printed onto printable canvas and then edged, tolerable, perfectly fine. You know, I mean, I told you this already. The other attempts did not go well. So what I've ended up with, fine. I like the design with the zipper. My little starship zipper pull. So good. So good. Thank you to Tris for that idea. So yeah, in general, pockets. I forgot to show you these. So double pockets, kind of. So zipped on the outside. And on the inside, they're attached here. So I can actually fit a mobile phone in this side, I think. So I can, in a pinch, drop something large on the inside as well, if I need to. Stuff that didn't work is that these sleeves are meant to be on the opposite side. Originally, I wanted the logo on here with the stripes, and then that should be on my right hand. The screen is mirrored. So when you shake the hands, you see the logo. Somehow, along the line, that ended up not the way. So I put the logo on here anyway. I think that's fine. Either sleeve would be perfectly acceptable. The big thing that I really got wrong, actually, is the pattern, specifically at the back. So let me just do the zipper up again so you can really see what I'm talking about. Oh, it's slightly too small around the waist as well. Just itsy bitsy teeny bit. I took out a teeny bit at the sleeves, and it was a teeny bit too much. The seams down the side. Just a teeny bit. 1 more centimetre would have been fine, but anyway. There's a lot of gaping here. So, and of course, because of the way I finished the seams, all of the seams are finished before I actually sewed the side seams. So it's not... I think what I do in the next... If I make another one where I really want to like very carefully like fill down all of the seams and everything, I think I would assemble more of it so I can check the fit better. Pretty much. It's okay. It is meant to be vaguely boxy. So I guess I kind of get away with it. And if the zipper's undone, you don't really notice so much, but that is a thing. The other thing is the back is a bit too long by, 2 centimeters actually, across where it's sitting at the waistband. So I really got to go through, I think, and readjust the master pattern to get where my waist is, like, more accurate. It's perfect at the front. The front is fantastic. I'm really, really pleased. But yeah, the back is just a bit short. Now, once again, did I finish all of the fancy stitching before putting everything together and then trying it on? So I couldn't really feasibly unpick anything because I also trimmed down all the sleeves. Yes, so should I really make more of the jacket next time before I get to the fancy finishing? Yes, also. But there's some lessons I've learned. Oh, the other thing I really love, and I forgot to say, this stripe under the popped cuff. I love it so much. Down, the cuff looks fine. It's not attached. It's just sort of sewn. There's no buttons. I don't think it needs it. But yeah, when I pop that cuff, oh, I don't even wear color, but my God, this little ping of color on this thing, it's making me so happy. Anyway, this is my Starfield jacket. And I absolutely adore it. It's exactly the right vibe. Sort of sitting between astronaut / military / BMX biker jacket / Star Wars Marvel hero character. It's just sitting perfectly in the junction of all those separate places. 80s athletic wear. It's just... And I'm absolutely delighted with how it came out. But... thank you so much for joining me here on YouTube. If you're wondering about Starfield, if you're here from the sewing side and you're wondering, what the hell is Starfield? It is a large computer game. You will find me playing it over at twitch.tv/IcyYC when it comes out, which from the time this video goes live, I'm not sure when this goes live, maybe a week? Anyway, there'll be a lot. Also, you'll find some other Starfield content over on my other YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Hullo, it's Icy. If you're here from that channel, welcome. This is my sewing channel where I make things and post videos about them. Some of it is vaguely like pop culture themed. A lot of it is historic or historic-ish. Goth historic, shall we say. But thank you so much for joining me. I loved this project. I have another one that will complement this one that I think I will make next. So please do subscribe if you're interested in seeing that one. I will be going to PAX Australia in Melbourne in the start of October, and I will be wearing this jacket. So if you're there, come see the jacket in person. Hopefully running a panel. But thank you. This outro is so disorganized, and I accept that. But once again, thanks. Bye.